Hi guys, welcome to this free webinar, and my name is Mila, and today I'm going to be talking about how you can start showing up online in real life without fear. So you're probably here because you're tired of hiding. You have ideas that you want to speak to the world. You might be ridden with people pleasing, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, but you are so tired and you're so done and you're exhausted and confused, and you want to finally start expressing yourself authentically, freely, unapologetically, right? You want to express, you want to be bold. You're tired of being small and you want to be bold. Okay, you know that you have things to say. You're tired of silencing your needs, your desires. You want to show up more in conflict, for instance. You're tired of feeling the fear, the fear of criticism. You're tired of feeling suppressed, and you're just done procrastinating. You're just done putting everything, to the side, to another day. So what hiding cost us? What does it cost you? You miss opportunities and connections. You have bottled creativity and ideas. It could be just like one post that you want to share on LinkedIn or Instagram, or there's a video that you want to record on YouTube, but something keeps stopping you. Your voice is not good enough. Your idea might not be good enough. You're scared what your colleagues or friends might think. You're scared of what your family will think. You are tired. You're constantly having to people please in order to fit in. You're starting to feel resentment and jealousy from staying silent, and that's completely normal. You feel constant burnout from people pleasing, and you are starting to feel, or you maybe actually your whole life and full life you felt invisible, unexpressed, and stuck, right? So just a little bit about me. My name is Mila. I'm a psychoanalytic psychotherapist, and I have gone, I've gone through this journey. I've been there. At some point, I was scared of my family and speaking to my family and really, really expressing my needs and emotions. I was scared to lose friends, always had to people please in order to feel accepted, to feel okay with myself. But all of that disappeared. I've healed the trauma. I've been there. I've done that. I've studied psychoanalytic therapy. I've studied coaching. I've studied counseling. And I studied psychology, so transactional analysis and other multiple modalities. And another interesting thing about me is that I've lived in 5-6 different countries. So I've always needed to adapt. I've always needed to adapt to new people, new culture. So like what I want to talk about, like you can adapt without having to people please, and you can adapt to new situations without having to change yourself. You can always stay authentically yourself. That's what I've learned. And so today, I want to talk about, what is it that's really going on, right? What is the truth behind what's stopping you? Why are you ridden with this perfectionism? What's really behind that? What is the true reason? And the true reason, I wanted to go a little bit back in the history. Before, in the history, people could not speak up. If people were to speak up, women were burnt, men were killed, and so speaking up and being and expressing ourselves was a potential threat to our life. People were killed and people died if they wanted to speak up, if they wanted to show who they are, wanted to express their opinion and express their needs. So it's, in a way, it's sort of like a generational trauma. It's a collective trauma. But see what's happening right now, things are shifting. Before there was television, but guys, right now it's social media, and literally anyone has a voice, okay? See, the thing is that shift might be very liberating, but at the same time, it could be traumatizing. You know why? Because we carry a lot of guilt and shame, okay? And that guilt and shame, it stops us from showing up. While we see that there are so many people out there that are just, influencers, this type of influencer, all kinds of influencers are emerging. Influencers has become this massive thing. There's so much money made in this field. And so this might be triggering you even more, because how come everyone can speak up? How come everyone can talk and say what they think, but you cannot? You feel that something is stopping you. You feel like, you're really trying to perfect something, and it's just, or you might have said few things, but then you stopped because you're not getting enough feedback and you feel like, well, it's all pointless. Well, the thing is, you might be thinking that you are perfectionist, and maybe your perfectionism is laziness. Someone might have said, oh, it's just, you're just being lazy, or imposter syndrome is just insecurity. You're insecure, you don't feel like you're good enough. That's it. It ends there. And people pleasing, you're just too nice. The truth is, okay, perfectionism is actually a trauma response rooted in fear of rejection. Therefore, procrastination is the same thing. It's a fear of rejection. Imposter syndrome is the voice of your ideal self punishing the real self. Again, I'll explain a little bit more in depth later on. And people pleasing is self-abandonment. It's truly self-abandonment. It's just you're trying to fit in. You're so scared to be alone. You're so scared to be misunderstood, and you're carrying lots and lots of guilt. All these three things are very deeply intertwined. And I'm going to try and help you gain a bit of clarity to get out of this inner conflict. And this is basically what my course is for. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, trauma and how it shows up in, like, what are the levels of speaking up and being bold. I just wanted to give you like a visual interpretation of how the level of pain that can come with speaking up, with being yourself. Social media, like for some people it's easier because they can hide it from their relatives, their friends. Sometimes it's easier because they can hide their face, and I see a lot of faceless accounts, which I think is a good idea, but in the long term, people lose interest in faceless accounts. So social media, the pain intensity, right, like the trauma associated with that might be lower, but again, the more you're going to try to adapt, like, a faceless account, the more you're going to try to hide yourself on social media, the less results you're going to get. People like to see authenticity. People are drawn in by real emotions. Like, what they like to see, real feelings, real emotions, right? Like they like to see raw personalities. People are drawn to that. And you know why people are drawn to that? Because that's what a lot of people lack these days. So you're either on one side or the other. You're either the consumer or you're the creator. At work, of course, it's not as easy to, to stand up for yourself sometimes, because, and you might be struggling with speaking up, and you might be struggling with people pleasing at work as well, and silencing your true, like, ideas and your true feelings. Because what happens, you might lose a job, you're scared you might not find another one, you might be scared for your position, and a lot of the times at work, people manipulation happens a lot. And so now let's go to friends. What happens if you all of a sudden you start speaking up and to the friends? What's going to happen? You're going to be left alone. You're going to be alone. For a lot of people, being alone is intolerable. It's an intolerable feeling of being alone. And, some people have ideas that, how am I going to find new friends? Am I ever going to find new friends? Like they just get into this spiral thinking that they're always going to be alone. And so speaking up and being truly yourself with friends can be rather painful, because you simply don't want to be alone. In all of these instances, if you're hearing the same, there's one commonality, right? And that's the trauma of, it's almost like ostracization trauma, if there is such thing. But like it's basically a primal fear of, like, being left alone because you're not going to be able to fend for yourself. But these days, it does not really happen. You can still survive, okay? You can survive on your own. You can happily survive on your own. Of course, you need friends, and that really helps to go through life. But see, what I realize is that a lot of people pleasers, they tend to think that it's kind of like all or nothing. It's like, I either have all these friends, or I'm just going to be left alone and I have no friends. But what we don't realize is that life is a continuous cycle, and you're always going to meet new people. You're always going to be able to get that new job. You're always going to be able to brand your persona online, right? That happens all the time. And family. So speaking up to family and standing up to family, to toxic family members, could be one of the most intense and painful feelings. Not for everyone. It is like I've shown on this table. For some people, it's easier to kind of like stand up to their family, but for some, standing up to friends, toxic behavior might be harder, while for others, like showing up on social media would be very easy, but for family would be harder. So anyway, it does not matter what's easier or what's worse for you, because it's all about the same thing. It's all about this inner conflict that I'm going to be trying to explain in my course. The inner conflict is, inside every high achiever, perfectionist, or people pleaser, lives a war between the two selves, the real I and the ideal I. See, the real I is who you were before you were told who to be. Okay, your real self is emotional, creative, honest. It's all the raw qualities, right? It's the part of you that wants to speak, to create, to lead, to be seen. Your real self has, negatives, right? And has positive traits and negative traits. Your real I is not this perfect human being. Your real I is flawed, and it's okay to be flawed. But your ideal I is someone who is ideal self. Someone, it's like a mask that you've built to survive, right? It has to be perfect. It has to be impressive. It's slightly narcissistic. For some, it can be quiet and being polite is being your ideal self, but usually that ideal self is like that version that you've decided, that you've learned that only this version is lovable. So why are you stuck? Why do you have this conflict? Why are you frozen? Why you cannot, speak up? So your real self wants to speak up. It wants to be boldly itself, but your ideal self fears the punishment, right? Your ideal self sometimes beats the real self because it's you've learned from your childhood that it might not be safe to be seen. It might not be safe to speak up. You might not even remember your childhood, but there might have been trauma where you, and a lot of us carry childhood trauma, where a parent might have said something like, stop talking, stop crying, stop being so loud, stop. And see, these things, a child hears it literally. It gives it like a literal meaning that you actually, that's when the block is created. Like, I cannot speak because once my mom, or maybe many times, my mom told me to shut up. Basically, from our past, we carry this trauma. And it tells us, like, if you show up as you are, you'll be rejected, humiliated, etc. And there's a lot of beliefs. I'm not going to go into all the beliefs. Here you are. Here is why you feel like a bit of a fraud. Like, you feel like you're an imposter because you might be showing the world your ideal self, but you're hiding the real self. This is what imposter syndrome really is. So you want to be this perfect something, and then you try to present it, that perfection, but deep inside you understand that you're so much more than that perfection. That perfection does not define you. It's okay to be flawed. It's okay to be who you are. But there's a voice inside of you, that ideal self, that keeps beating you, and it tells you, you have to be the best version of yourself. If you're not going to be that, people are going to judge you, criticize you, you're not going to be loved. Boom. This is the reason why you can't show up. This is the reason why you can't show up, neither online nor in real life. Okay? And that can be very painful. It's an inner conflict that definitely you have like a quality of life declined. So there you go. There's the freeze loop, right? What happens? You start to overthink. You overthink. Then when you start overthinking, you procrastinate. You go watch Netflix, and then what happens? You feel guilty. Oh my God, I didn't do much. Then you try harder. You try to do something, right? You try to push yourself. And pushing yourself, it never really works. When it's like trying to hit a horse that does not want to move. The horse does not want to move, and you're trying to hit it and hit it and hit it, but the horse is not going to move. It's only going to feel even worse. It's going to feel burnt out, and the cycle goes on repeat. So I wanted to introduce you to my online course. Okay, the online course that I've created, I've put so much energy into this. It's extremely comprehensive and detailed. At the same time, I give a lot of examples, from pop culture. I analyze things, and I help you understand and dismantle your ideal self. Okay, and then I try to bring you closer to your real self. While doing that, within the process, I'm going to be helping you heal your inner child. I'm going to help you strengthen the adult, because we all have the adult within us. We have three roles, right? Child, adult, and the parent. And when we act too much from the child role, yes, it can be convenient at times for creativity, but if you have this inner critic that's bashing you daily, then it's your like parental role that's mostly showing up, and it's not your adult, because adult is rational. Adult is going to see things rationally and not come with a fear. Adult does not necessarily have too much fear, because it understands the consequences. It understands what happens, right? The child can carry a lot of trauma and guilt and lots of fear. It brings that fear into the situation. And I'm going to help you in that course. I'm going to help you heal the part that feels the guilt and shame. I'm going to help you, stopping that freezing stage, and help you express yourself and finally show up online and in real life as who you are. So what I included in this course, I have 7 modules, trauma-informed lessons, a wealth of applicable psychoanalytic knowledge, because I do like to bring a lot of, psychoanalytic insights into everything that I do. Additionally, transactional analysis. Transactional analysis is my love, and you might not understand what this is, but in the lessons, you will basically, what will happen is in the course, you will start understanding your inner psyche. You will understand the parts of your psyche that manipulate you, that play which roles you play in and where. You'll understand your inner processes. You'll be able to unlock that procrastination and unlock that imposter syndrome, because you're going to understand who you truly are. and your real self, and you will be rid of guilt and shame that stops you from being who you are. I've recorded guided meditations. They're not really meditations, they're guided practices. These practices I use with my clients, and they've been incredibly helpful for most of my clients. I've also, these are the practices that, you know, have been done to me when I was doing my healing, and it's all like audio recorded, and I think it's absolutely incredible. These audio recordings, you know, guided practices are insane. I think they are probably one of the best things that is a, you know, it's an amazing bonus to this course. I think without these guided practices, this course would not be complete. So I worked really hard on these guided practices that will help you. Because knowledge is one thing, but you need to integrate that knowledge. You need to integrate that and work on a different level, right? You can't always work on conscious. You need to sometimes work on the subconscious. I'm going to explain you the real self and ideal self framework. And also additionally, you get to have a free analysis of your situation, any situation, in my Psych Lab, Mila's Psych Lab. It's a Telegram community where I analyze everything and anything that moves, okay, and doesn't move, anything that moves and doesn't move. So it's really ideal and perfect for you if you're ready to stop hiding, okay, if you are tired of surface level advice, motivational advice. You understood by now that motivation is not going to be enough to get you through. It's simply not enough. It doesn't get you going. Yes, it sparks something for an hour or two, a day or two, but then it just like spirals down. The motivation is just gone. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be respected, and you want to be who you are without, you know, you're tired of criticism, you're tired of judgment, both online and in real life, okay? You want to speak up, you want to defend yourself, you want to say no, you want to claim your truth because you're tired of hiding, you're tired of being that little gray mouse. Why your colleague or your friend is doing so well, let's say on LinkedIn or, you know, Instagram or TikTok or whatever, any other social media, and you know that you have so much to say, you have so much to share, but you just can't, right? You can't, and you don't know why, and it's sad. But this is why I created the course, to help you. And you're done betraying your truth to keep others comfortable. So like I said, you don't need more confidence hacks or motivational talks. You need to understand what is really going and happening inside of you, inside of your psyche, what's going on in your head. So you can enroll today. The course is on sale. It's $397, and that includes all these perks that I've mentioned. Free analysis. You can ask as many questions as you want in regards to the course. And additionally, you get access to those guided practices that helped so many of my clients and that helped me so much to undo all that people pleasing, all that self, you know, when you just don't have enough self-respect, when you don't have enough self-worth, when you are just, you know, it really will help you undo all of that. It will empower you. It will for sure empower you. This course is not, you know, like a wishy-washy motivational talk or telling you, hey, you go on Instagram or you go on LinkedIn, you write your ideas down. No, I'm going into your psyche here. I'm going to dismantle it. You are going to dive deep. And that's the goal of this course, for you to dive deep, for you to touch the realness of you and to start showing up, because it's time, because maybe it's enough. Life is short. We never know when we're going to depart this planet. So why not just be authentically ourselves? Why not just be instead of hiding like a little mouse? So anyhow, thank you guys very much for watching, and enroll today. If you have any questions, you can email me, or you can also check out the full page that talks about my course. It goes into the modules, it goes into the practices, so it goes into all these details. So check it out. You will have like a link to that website course page to check more, to learn more. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And yes, thank you guys for watching. I urge you to enroll today and do not wait until next month, next year, because honestly, the time has come. So thank you guys, and I'll see you hopefully in my course. Bye bye.